Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome to another Challenger or equivalent Spectate video. Obviously there's no challenges yet in Season 10, so technically Master players already. So we're watching Felix today. Now some of you may recognise this guy. He's the fella, if I'm not mistaken, that has had like 10 accounts in Challenger at one time. Like crazy insane solo queue player. And I've been obviously looking at, weird things because, the meta changes. And how does meta change? Well, the meta changes when people do weird things and then it sticks a lot of the time. And I came across him playing a lot of Camille and I was like, wait a minute, isn't Felix a mid laner? And yes, he is. Why is he playing Camille? Well, we're going to try and answer that in today's episode. But weirder than that is he runs Omnistone Camille mid. Now, I do stand by that I think Omnistone is a relatively troll rune. I don't see the benefit of it per se, because you can't plan around really what you have. Obviously, you play to what rune you currently have. Oh, I've got Predator right now. Okay, let's use Predator and Roam. Oh, I've got Conqueror now. Okay, I'll take trade so I can, out-trade someone with healing. You play to what rune you're given, but you can't plan to what rune you're going to get. So that's why I don't think Omnistone is good. But when it comes to what champions can or have been taking Omnistone, it does seem that there's a correlation of champions that obviously can use multiple runes or they benefit from multiple runes. And when I was looking through Felix's history and I saw he took Omnistone, I was thinking, hold up, Camille does technically benefit from a lot of runes. So we're going to watch, see how it goes. And worth noting, and this video could be even called something, is Camille mid worth it? Is it good? Because, recently we've seen a rise in Renekton mid. It's a big counter to the likes of an assassin, like a Katarina, a Zed, a Yasuo, that type of thing. People had been taking Renekton mid, and, is it off meta? Yes and no at the same time. But what about Camille mid? Well, arguably Camille has better scaling than Renekton. She has an okay early game, like Renekton. She can lock down people a lot better because of her ultimate. Katarina literally cannot escape. Meanwhile, Katarina's going for a first blood all in and she just gets annihilated. Like, look at that. Like, just straight up, the Katarina just gets killed. She flashes pretty early just to get away from the Echo. I think that is. Yeah, Echo with his new skin. Weirdly, I thought that was Garen for some reason. Lands his E, now coming in with the Nidalee gank. With very... Oh, look at the damage. Look at the damage output. Okay, and Echo apparently had already used Flash. So there's 2 kills straight away for Camille. And pretty chill gameplay, right? Like, strong early game. A lot of damage. Lane control, because an assassin or something like that, like a Katarina, can't just take on a Camille. She's a bruiser. And when it comes to scaling, well, Camille scales well. And she'll stop an assassin. So when I was thinking about this and like looking at, a few different players who are at the top of EUS solo queue right now, and I was like, oh, what do I want to do a replay of today? And, again, just reminding people, the reason that we're doing these at the moment is I do have a lot of solo queue games to show you guys, but I will just fully admit some of them, I want them to be the main video of the day. For example, tomorrow's video is me playing Vladimir. I want that to be the main video of the day, not a second video of the day for a specific reason. It was a really good game, so I need to do this game. And these are incredibly educational for the beginning of the season. I think that's really good. And I haven't seen an Omnistone Camille mid yet this season, and I wanted to see what it's about, and I thought you guys might want to as well. And so far, I can definitely see the benefit of it, like just straight away. And I would say, would it be something that you can just pick randomly? I don't think so. But in specific matchups, yeah, I actually think it's going to be pretty decent. I think it just is got it ticks a lot of boxes, really. Like, the negative of it, I guess if you get ganked a lot, maybe? Like, if you get behind as Camille mid, it'll be like Camille top. She kind of sucks. Like when you get behind. But if you don't get behind, and I think it's even probably hard to get behind, I don't know, I think it actually could work really well. Is this going to make me play it? Maybe. You know, worth noting that I so far, me recording this, and what you guys have obviously seen on the YouTube channel, is about half of the games that I've played so far in Season 10. I've played about 15 games. I think earlier I uploaded episode 6. So actually I've played more than that. But yeah, like, I've played a lot of champions already. And I'm always looking for, like, new interesting things just to, you know, have a little go. And if it's a good counter pick, I personally like counter picks. My general advice is to the average player, don't care about them, because you should just focus on what you're personally good at, obviously. Another all-in. Oh, really close. But never mind, not close. Did get the kill. Was confident that she didn't need to do the second half of the E. Just straight up kills the Katarina. This is interesting, man. But yeah, I'm always looking for something interesting. As a player that plays a lot of champions, I enjoy counter picking. Because I don't have that specific champion that I'm just going to play all the time. I don't care enough to play one or whatever champion all the time. So I will look at counter picks quite heavily. And again, yes, I think Camille is going to be a natural counter to something like Katarina. But considering a lot of champions counter Katarina, I think Camille just being added to that list. But if you're thinking about it logically, put Camille mid versus Talon, put Camille versus Zed, Echo mid, Fizz mid. I think Camille's probably going to come out on top of most of those matchups. And it's not like she, again, like the negative of Renekton, you eventually fall off. That's just Renekton. Camille doesn't fall off. Arguably, Camille has an incredibly good late game, especially if you're going for a split push play style. Now, one thing I would say is I don't think the Omni Stone has really done that much for the Camille, if I'm honest. I think if she just was running PTA, she'd have more frequent damage of like how much she knows she's doing. Because the other thing you have to remind yourself when you're taking Omni Stone, you're also having to go the tree the Omni Stone's in. So you're missing out on like domination stats or, you know, whatever the other tree is stats. Like you're missing those, or at least some of them. So you can't ignore that either. So item build, I'd imagine it's going to be a Triforce Rush build. Pretty similar to the top lane, really. But I would, if I had to guess, meanwhile there's a play happening around here, Katarina gets killed again, I would imagine in mid lane you don't build Tiamat. Now, that will be a difference in top lane, but why in mid lane do you not want to? One, I don't think in mid lane you need to. So in top lane you're buying a Tiamat because the trading is so close and lane control is so important. In mid lane, you're a bruiser versus a squishy mage. You're going to have lane control. Like, just straight up, you're going to have it even without Tiamat. It's not going to be that close. But in top, it is close. The trades are important. Both of you are fighting over as much farm as possible all the time, so Tiamat is needed just to get that extra pushing going, the extra pushing power. In mid lane, you're a bruiser versus a mage, or a bruiser versus assassin. You already have the power. You don't need Tiamat. So that's something worth knowing. You can like look in top lane. It's a Renekton. He is buying Tiamat in top lane versus a Quinn because he needs the extra pushing power, especially in the fact that he's against a range matchup. He needs that push because he doesn't have it or needs more of it because of top lane. So Katarina, by the way, rough game so far, but does do a bit of a recovery, heads straight down to bot lane, gets herself a kill and an assist. Meanwhile, Camille's obviously just extending her farm. Now, one thing maybe I should check, and it's worth always maybe knowing, is what rating was the Katarina or something, for example, last season. I would try and find out momentarily while nothing major's happening. There is a play happening in top side though. The Nidalee's fighting the Renekton and she will get the kill just. And look how many plates, by the way, is happening. Katarina is still showing in bot lane. So I don't know if she's tilted because, yeah, leaving your lane opponent that long is probably not a great idea in mid lane. You know, yes, Katarina got a kill, blah, blah, blah. But you're giving hundreds of gold worth of plates over to a Camille and extending the farm lead. So not the best thing in the world. Lane swap does seem to happen though. This is probably and arguably to try and give the Katarina at least some type of lane phase. Good spear. E-engage. Camille maybe overcommitting. Does go for the Senna. With the ultimate, gets the kill. Doubt she's going to be able to make it out. Never mind, she flashes. There is going to now be an extended fight. Echo will finish off the kill, and there you go. But yeah, not bad play by MagiFelix there. Just a bit aggressive. But why not be aggressive, I guess, when you're this far ahead? Thresh doing a nice play, but does get caught out. Renekton flashing, does miss. Nice spear hitting by Nidalee. Very calculated. She's going to go in for the execute. Does get a double kill. Unfortunate spear miss there. Does continue going for the echo. Nothing massive is going to come from it. And that will probably be the play over. Very nice. All right, so the Katarina on the enemy team. Just because, you know, some people are like, God, this Katarina died like 2 times really early in 1v1s. What the hell? She is a Katarina one-trick that was Grandmaster last season. So again, a pretty damn good Katarina player, but obviously MagiFelix is a step above, obviously. Like, MagiFelix is an insane solo queue player. As I said earlier, like, I don't know if it was 10 accounts, maybe that was an exaggeration, but maybe it was like 4 accounts. I think it was in the top 10 of Challenger on EU West at the same time. Like, crazy, right? Like, insane. But yeah, so item build, interesting that the item build has actually been split a little bit. So yes, Triforce is being built, but there's a random Warhammer in there for a little bit of cooldown reduction. Now, why? I guess maybe you know, it could be a thought of I'm playing Camille. It does feel that my cooldown's a bit slow. Okay, let's just get that 10%. Is it 10 or 20? I think it's 10. 10% cooldown reduction in there just to try and get the flow of my abilities a bit better, because obviously Camille is quite cooldown reduction reliant. A lot of pings coming from the blue team. The Renekton is definitely in trouble here, and it does seem like Renekton was fighting Quinn here. Sense of frustration maybe. Worth knowing that the Renekton has done good in his range matchup. He has actually been camped a couple times, but he's got even farm to a Quinn. Again, I would say the higher rating you go, the less and less and less effective something like a Quinn will be. Even though it's a range matchup, they have a big weakness, and they do get punished a lot. And I will say, in the next few days, just to kind of hype up the episodes that will be coming out, I played a game of Darius, another game of Darius, and I was against a Challenger Nico one-trick from last season. And in that episode, I show you how you deal with a range matchup. And that person was Challenger. I only peaked at Master, yet I made it look not hard at all, beating them in farm and stuff like that. So range matchups are not an issue as long as you're playing it in the correct way. And yeah, obviously the farm's gone a little bit in Quinn's way now because Renekton died. But I remember there was a time, even with me, when I struggled against range matchups more, that you'd be like half their farm. And you're like, dude, there's nothing I can do. There is. You've just got to adjust your playstyle a bit. You've got to adjust your build a bit, and you'll be all right. So wait for that episode in a few days, and it'll be all good. So item build now. Is Triforce complete from Camille? Maybe. It's going to be close. Maybe Celador. Oh, no, it is complete. Yep, there you go. So Triforce completed. Warhammer. I'm really interested to see what that gets built into. What would that be built into? Death Dance, maybe? I don't know. Like, I doubt it's anything. Well, it's going to be something aggressive, right? Because remember, the one thing that I would say when you're playing something irregular like this in mid lane, remember what role you're in. You're in mid. Mid is a carry lane. So if you play something like a Camille in mid and you play it a non-carry way, you're actually really, really, really hurting one combo. You're really hurting your team's comp, because you're taking a carry position and playing something non-carry. It's the equivalent of playing, you know, you're in the AD carry position, but you're going to play, I don't know, like a support, you know. You can't do that. You're playing an AD carry position. You have to try and carry. But you just saw there the strength of Camille right now versus Katarina. She just like one combo hit the Katarina. And, you know, yes, there is a fedness difference this game. But honestly, I do think that it's just a lot, you know, matchup. Remember, MagiFelix, I'll look through his profile right now. He has played most of his games this season, has been on Akali. Then it's been on Camille, then Orianna, then Echo, then Kiana, then Lissandra. You know, MagiFelix is not obviously a main of anything, a one-trick of anything. He plays a lot of things. He is against a one-trick. But it's because of matchup that he's owned this matchup. Like, honestly, like, if you are considering or you struggle against, like, assassins and stuff, this video might have helped you a lot because, yeah, maybe really look into Camille. Predator's been proc from Omnistone. So the one thing I'd say is, yeah, look into it, but I'd say probably skip the Omnistone, if I'm honest. Like, I really don't think it's benefited. I don't think it's benefited enough. Wow, he must be, like, right there. I don't think the Omnistone has benefited MagiFelix enough to warrant needing it, wanting it. Will they survive? Probably not in the end, but they do get a kill. The enemy team gets a shutdown, though, which is a pretty good shutdown. So I'd go just PTA or something like that, and you'll have more... You'll know how much damage you're doing more. Another thing that is a lot good is like Riot heard my calls. We now have dragons showing what dragon buffs have been taken. So thank you, Riot. I did do a complaint about that. And yeah, it got... I'm not saying that I obviously was the one that made it fix, but it does help when you're saying to rioters, hey, can we actually have dragons showing in the replay files? And they're like, oh, God, yes, we need to do that type of thing. It helps a lot. Obviously, it definitely helps with LCS upcoming too. Right, item build. Yeah, I guess that's Death's Dance, right? Because Death's Dance is Pickaxe, Warhammer, and Vamp Scepter, right? So I'm presuming it's a Death's Dance. Anything worth noting of any of the items build this game? Renekton actually did opt for a Ravenous Hydra. Questionable. I don't know. Titanic actually might have been stronger this game, personally. He is also getting himself caught out again, does get killed. So yeah, Renekton's now having a bad performance. He honestly did pretty well in the lane phase. He got ganked a couple times by the Nidalee, but he kept his farm really solid. But he is now overextending by himself constantly, and that's the thing that's actually hurting him, not really the lane phase. So now you'll probably see the adaptation of split pushing Camille. Now this is why the idea of Camille mid isn't that bad in my head, because like I said earlier, Camille doesn't fall off. Arguably Camille has a great scaling because Camille is one of the best split pushing bruisers in the game, for a couple reasons. One, incredible duelist, can duel with like some of the best of them. Secondly, if you're fed on Camille and you know you can kill people, well, you've got an ultimate that locks people down. So they legit cannot get away from you, so you just kill them. So that's another reason why she's good. Well, hello, Renekton. I don't know what's happening to this Renekton, if he knew about that or, is he tilted? Not sure. But there's the second reason that she's really good. Oh, messes up the flash play, goes to the ultimate, nearly one bangs, does get the kill, but dies in the end to the Thresh. Meanwhile, all that play was happening, Nidalee spawned the Rift Herald somewhere in that. No idea where. But yeah, and also thirdly, so like we said, doesn't fall off, good at dueling. If she's fed, she can lock people down so like the Senna can't run away, for example. But thirdly, if you are in a little bit of trouble as split pushing Camille, well, she's also, nice Q by Bard there. Camille is also really good at escaping. She's got great mobility. She's got her E, right? And her W is a slow. So she's actually got all three of the ticks in the box for split pushers. If you think about it, what makes a split pusher, go through them. They're all basically the same. Jax, Fiora, Tryndamere, they all scale well, duel in 1v1s incredibly well, but also have mobility to escape. Jax has got his Q over a wall, Fiora's got her Q, or Tryndamere's got his E. That's what makes split pushers in League. The one thing that Camille's got over all the others is her lockdown. It's like, oh, I'm so much stronger than you. Kathunk, you're stuck with me now. You're going to die. So I would maybe heavily consider Camille if you are looking for something along these lines. Some people may say, okay, you're watching a Camille game. Yes, it's a great counter to Assassins. That's awesome. What about top lane Camille? I definitely, it's fine, obviously. If mid lane Camille works, top lane definitely works. But I'd say it's also riskier because what I think the big strength of Camille mid we've seen this game is that Katarina had nothing to do in the early game. You can't trade against a Camille as a Katarina. The same will be said for other assassins or mages in the early game, because Camille just has so much more strength as an early game bruiser, with auto attacks and everything, with her passive shield that, is a magic resist shield if she gets attacked by magic damage. So they can't trade against her. In top lane, you can get killed. You can get traded against. So I'd say that is the risk. So here's the lockdown that we spoke about. Echo now cannot get away. Like, he's just stuck. I do think he panic ult a bit, maybe a bit early. But yeah, no, nice kill. Don't know what MagiFelix is doing here. Completely by himself. Will get killed. They will get the Renekton, but yeah. So I think a bit of craziness is happening. Now, what you do have to remember, when it comes to the caliber of these players, you and me, let's call us normal players, us mere mortals, we get nervous about early season. We want to really do well. We want to try and climb quick. When it comes to a player like MagiFelix and stuff that is just so good, he don't care about this game. Like, the players in this game, oh, it's a Grandmaster Katarina. That doesn't mean much to him. He's just going to mess around, like, a lot. Like, that is something worth noting. And if you are somebody that is doing your research, like, you know, you're watching replays like I am, you may notice that. You're like, why is, I don't know, Froggen doing this weird thing? Pros and stuff like that are bored in solo queue in the early season because, well, you've seen it in my games of, you know, again, the best example is episode 1 of Climb to Master this season. We were against a Diamond 4 Rumble 1 trick. We made him rage quit because we just owned him. That's me, right? And I'm not a crazy amazing player, let alone these type of players. Like, to them, it's going to be very, very one-dimensional and probably stomping a lot of the time. And it's just the way that it goes. And the weird thing as well, I have seen comments about it going, oh, they don't have insane win rates. Partially that's why. Like, MagiFelix right now is sitting in Master at 37 wins, 30 losses. Now, again, why is he here alone? Don't know. He might survive, doesn't survive because the heal of Senna. Will get the kill though, so they trade. Nidalee now popping off 11-0. Quinn in the enemy base. If I'm honest, I kind of forgot there was a Quinn. Double kill for Nidalee. But yeah, you're just seeing some very loosey-goosey play now from the Camille, being very aggressive, going all in. But oddly, the all-in from Camille is also making plays happen. Is, you know, 4 people died because Camille went all in, you could argue. So it's not a pure negative. We've said it before, not every death in League of Legends is a bad death. Sometimes your death is worth it. If you're engaging like the Camille just did and you die, 4 of the enemy team die, well, that's not a terrible death, for example. Or another example, you're a tank and you die, but your team aces the other team. That's not a bad death. So overall, again, a pretty stompy game, but I wanted to just to see what the hell it was about. Now, partially, I think, you know, MagiFelix, he might be messing around too much. Maybe that's why he's got Omni Stone. I think it's a good pick. I can definitely see it now. I might even give it a go myself. Camille mid. When it's in a good matchup, oh, they're picking Katarina. Okay, cool. They're playing maybe even a Kali Camille would be good against, because imagine the lockdown on a Kali. She can't W away, for example. You know, stealth away. So I definitely see the benefit of Camille mid. I wouldn't go Omni Stone. Item build wise, again, we spoke about earlier, you don't need the Tiamat in lane in mid. You do in top. And yeah, Death Stance was the second item purchase, and then after that would probably have been, I would presume, it may be a Tiamat item then, because I would say naturally how Camille will scale as even mid Camille, she will eventually want to split push. So that's when you'd probably want to get the Tiamat item to give you that more split push, faster pushing, auto attack resets, obviously. So maybe the next item would be a Titanic Hydra, or it could be a Sterix, I guess. But there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Really fun to watch. It's actually giving me an idea of a new pick potentially to have as like a little counter pocket pick to the likes of something like a Katarina, because a lot of people do struggle against the champions like Katarina or Kali, etc. Maybe think about Camille in the future. But that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe on. I will say we're going to have a couple days off now. These Challenger Spectate episodes. You'll have a few days of my main account stuff. But some of them will be POV versions, so I've recorded the games of me playing, my perspective. It's not a replay, but I'm not playing live. I will commentate over the footage that I recorded. We've got a couple of those episodes coming up. Tomorrow's video, though, the main video of the day, is a Vladimir episode that is a live commentary, and I do really recommend that one, because that one is, again, about being flexible about what champion you pick and stuff like that. But that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. Let me know if there's other EU West players that you want me to spectate, or any weirder picks, champion picks, stuff like that that might be worth checking out. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the video, and if you can do me a massive favor just before you leave, hit the like button. Thanks very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.